So today's webinar is AI-powered profit growth, 5 new tactics for builders. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Doug Newell. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Swarmalytics. I hope you're all having a good day. It's a good day for me because any day I can talk about artificial intelligence and how it might be applied to make somebody more money is a good day. My background is I've got about 40 years experience in advanced analytics. During that time period, I've watched the volumes of data grow and grow and grow from having, a small database of 20 pieces of information about 1 million people seemed huge, and now we deal in terabytes. In any case, during that growth of data, I've looked into different methodologies that might tackle it and help monetize it. How do you make money out of it? So about 30 years ago, I was sitting in a bank in Switzerland, mashing their data and finding patterns in who was buying Swiss mortgages. And I came upon a form of what wasn't known then, but it was artificial intelligence, a neural network. And I explored that. And to make a long story a little bit shorter, I ended up founding and co-founding 7 companies in the AI field. We have dealt with dozens, maybe hundreds of different clients. Capital One, Jenny Craig, Hertz Rent-A-Car, a few of them. But basically, this latest venture, Swarmalytics, we are bringing to market a new form of AI, sort of a second, well, it is a second generation AI, and we're trying to squeeze more value out of the data that's all around us. And in particular, Swarmalytics is focused on real estate and prop tech industries. So AI's arrived. In a moment, I'll tell you how it's arrived in real estate. It's made significant improvements and advances over the last few years. Again, 30 years ago, we had what was basically a toy. What was intriguing was the toy was better than the statistical methods we were then using. So I remember heated conversations with PhD statisticians and so forth who couldn't believe that anything was better than a regression. And then we'd show them, and then they became quiet. In any case, this isn't just tech for tech's sake. And what I hope to do in this conversation with you is explain what AI is so that we demystify it. I've had situations where somebody asks me what business I'm in, and I say AI, and they assume that I'm some sort of genius, because who could ever possibly understand this? If I'm successful today, you'll understand some of the basics of artificial intelligence, and you'll know enough, perhaps not to be intimidated by it. It is a big thing. It's going to be an even bigger thing. There's a famous quote by, I think it's Mr. Ng, I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but he said that AI is going to be to this century what electricity was to the 20th century. It's going to change everything. So from, the days of horse-drawn cars or horse-drawn carriages to the end of the 20th century, huge differences. Well, AI is going to make the same difference here. I believe in the space of real estate and prop tech, it will eventually touch all decisions and be optimizing things so that will help improve the product and decrease the cost of housing, first in America and then throughout the world. And this is, in fact, real today. You may know some people who are using it. Lennar. Lennar appears to be the first, or at least if they're not the first, they've used their public relations abilities to position them as the first. Lennar talks about their AI capabilities in every one of their conversations with their stockholders in their quarterly financial results. And let's take a moment and dissect some of what they're saying. We affectionately call this configuration the Lennar machine. This is, in fact, incredibly telling. They're seeing their business as a machine, and AI is helping them streamline it and make it all run just like a finely tuned engine to hum. And then they say, although it's not perfect yet, the Lennar machine drove new order volume to blah, 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 and exceeded last year and enabled our production group to operate with predictability and consistency. They are using AI here almost as a optimization tool to allow their production group to go from one project to another seamlessly without worrying about inventory backlogs and so forth. So again, it's a machine for them, and it's paying dividends not only financially, but back to the production group, optimizing that. If by chance you happen to be in Miami, come by and see the Lennar machine in action, you might start to imagine where the often talked about AI might find its way into the sometimes stodgy home building industry and improve productivity. Okay, so they're seeing everybody else in the industry as sometimes stodgy, but they are at the cutting edge because they're using AI to improve productivity. I think there's a lot in that, and there are similar quotes for, again, each of their other recent conversations with their stockholders. So let's get into what is AI. And there are several different flavors of AI. For example, there's a whole different wing of the beast here, which is dealing with text and words and the meaning of words and things like that. That is not the part we're talking about. We're talking about predictive analytics driven by artificial intelligence. So back when the beginnings of artificial intelligence, one of the first manifestations of it was a neural network. And by the name of it, neural, having to do with the brain, they thought they were simulating how a brain might function. So here on this slide, we got a brain cell with the synapses and things like that. Anyway, I'm not going to get into biology, promise. However, right below it is a small neural network. We have inputs here. And again, the test that I did 30 years ago, where it beat statistics and caused me to decide to dedicate the rest of my career to artificial intelligence, the little test probably had 5 or 10 inputs. And I believe it was predicting remission of cancer or something like that. And we were up against a statistical model that was published in a journal of SAS, the statistical analytics software. In any case, we have inputs, and then here, this is key. We have weights. So how important is this input? Okay. Then there's some math that goes on where those inputs and weights are summed up, and that causes something to activate or not activate, and so forth. Okay. Here's the key to it all, and it's really, at least I think, kind of simple. It can get complex, but the basic thing is simple. Those weights are the same as, say, in an equation, you see, this is a function of that. And I'm going to walk you through an example in just a moment, but we have the weights, and the weights are the memory of this algorithm. And it is called machine learning Learning is setting those weights correctly. And when you set them correctly, you have optimized what you're trying to predict and you can extract value. So let me go on to a real life example here that I often give. Who will buy a Porsche? Okay. I, in fact, built that model many years ago and ran into a situation. The head of marketing for Porsche didn't care about the ability to predict who would buy a Porsche because he didn't believe in advertising. He was quoted as saying, owning a Porsche is like a romance and you don't advertise romances. Well, that was kind of interesting. He was later fired because he didn't advertise and therefore they didn't sell much. But in any case, let's go to who's going to buy a Porsche. Let's say you know four things. You know everyone's age. You know some measure of affluence. We can have salary or could be home value or something like that. You know what zip code they're in and you know their gender. So how do you determine who's going to buy a Porsche? You have underneath those little green dots, you've got a bunch of weights, and we're going to optimize those weights. Those weights go into what's called a hidden layer. Some fancy math goes on there where something can be turned into a nonlinear relationship. I promise not to have a math quiz here, and we won't get into what's going on too much in the hidden layer, but it's just a summarization of weights and some transformations. And then the weights go down into the final output, which is going to predict, yep, that looks like a Porsche driver or a buyer, and nope, that doesn't. So in neural networks, we often have training data sets. So let's imagine we've gone into a file and we had those four variables and we have whether they bought a Porsche or not. Record number one, it's a non-Porsche buyer. The person's 45 years old, has a salary, and blah, 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 and so forth. That goes through, and in the beginning, the weights can be random. So the model basically has no idea who is going to buy a Porsche. It's random weights. It goes through the process, comes out with a prediction, and it says, yep, this is a Porsche driver. And the truth, because it's on the file, the training file, is nope, they're not a Porsche driver. What happens is a wave goes back through all the weights there and changes them. If it's a positive weight, it makes it a little bit more negative. If it's negative, it makes it a little more positive. Basically, it's sort of a shock wave. The wrong answer has given a slap in the face to the model, and it has changed its behavior a little bit. The next record comes through, and on and on. And we can, in fact, put this data through over and over and over so that it sees that first record again, but the weights are nowhere near what they were before. The point is, what we've done by changing the weights is we have an optimization here that in the beginning, it will change those weights very rapidly because they are very wrong. In the end, it's going to find an equation that I can tell you from experience. There is an age, men going through a mid-age crisis who have the financial ability and live near a Porsche dealer and things like that. They are the ones, and the weights will reflect that. So if you put in the record of an 80-year-old person, he's going to get a big negative weight because he's not middle-aged and so forth. And it comes out with the prediction. So this is the essence of what a machine learning is. It is exposing an algorithm over and over and over again, maybe 1 million times, to data and adjusting those weights. The weights are the memory, and eventually it comes out with an equation that is really, really good at finding something. So That was sort of 30 years ago, a early neural network that we see down in this picture. It's gotten more complex, but the basic ideas are the same. So now we've gone from neural nets to today, deep learning is the latest area of interest. And there we have more of these hidden layers. And what that does is it picks up subtleties that maybe we pick up some other piece of data, and a Porsche owner is not only got to be in the right zip code, but it finds that if there's a dealership within 3 miles or something where it's picked up some subtlety. So deep learning will pick those kinds of things up. So with every webinar, there's sort of a commercial. And if you'll be patient for 2 minutes, I've got a brief video that hopefully will both entertain you and explain to you what we do here.
As a home builder, you face the complex task of finding the perfect balance when it comes to setting the listing price of your available inventory. Price too low and you leave money on the table. Price too high and your properties linger on the market, incurring additional costs and tying up precious capital. But what if there was a better way? Introducing Hive Builder AI, a suite of tools provided by Swarmalytics and designed to revolutionize the way you approach home building, giving you an unparalleled advantage in the competitive market. Let's explore how it works. No more guesswork when it comes to pricing. Hive Builder AI's predictive models utilize diverse data sources and analysis of comparable properties to recommend the optimal listing price for your newly built homes. Ensure the best possible profits while attracting the right buyers for your projects. Navigate the currents of opportunity with unwavering precision. Our AI technology factors in market dynamics, interest rates, and ever-changing trends to predict how long a house will stay on the market. Plan ahead, reduce potential hazards, and optimize your resources. Make data-driven decisions with confidence. Hive Builder AI's predictive models estimates the final sale price of a new home. Understanding the potential price range empowers you to strategize and secure optimal returns, mitigating the risk associated with prolonged market presence. Our powerful website integration, Apiary AI, facilitates the gathering of valuable insights into your potential customers, understanding their behavior, such as how many times they've clicked on a house or how long they've engaged with a listing. With these insights, you can trigger personalized incentives and guide them towards a final sale. Experience the immense power of AI for your home building business. Contact Swarmalytics today for a live demo of Hive Builder AI or visit our website for more information.
Okay, well, thank you for watching our brief commercial there. So let's talk about these 5 different tactics. And okay, we have products that cover them all, but I'd really rather focus on the tactic and how it can help a home builder. We have focused on these 5 because they appear to be sort of the low-hanging fruit. Again, I believe AI will ultimately be driving many, if not all, of the decisions involved in the housing market, from the color of the paint to the design and how many beds and how many baths, and all of those things will eventually be driven by data, which is driven by the market and interest rates and all of the things going on around us. So, tactic number 1, and that is, well, first you need land to build on. And we have a tool that we've built that helps. I've met a number of people who do land acquisition, and the amount of manual work and look up at courthouses and all sorts of mind-numbing things are so appalling from my perspective. So in this tool, right now, we have the tool working for residential communities. Eventually, we're going to be doing apartment buildings and retail and commercial and office spaces and so forth. But let's go with the residential communities. Okay, So if you have a particular geography in mind, here I've chosen Texas, a big place, but Travis County. We're going to drive it on Travis County because Travis County is around Austin, Texas, and it's been one of the hot spots in American real estate for the last number of years. We could, of course, just drill down on a particular zip, or we could do the whole United States. The background here is that we have taken all of the data we have, thousands and thousands of variables about every piece of property in the United States, and we've scored them all using artificial intelligence. So here we're focusing it on Travis County, but we could be looking at the entire United States if we wanted to for where the hot spots. So I mentioned we score it. Propensity of this property to be turned into a residential community in the next 3 years, I believe it is. So we've set the rate here at 80. We want to see things that score 80 to 100. So pretty good, but we'll go down into the sort of medium, but we certainly don't want to be considering anything that is mediocre or poor as far as property development. Now, we have lots of other criteria because we have lots of other data. We want to say a minimum, maybe this is a small builder and he wants to put 3 or 4 houses and therefore he's going to need 10 acres. Fine. So we can set a threshold of 10 acres. He's going to do something that's fairly upscale, and he knows from experience that he gets lots of questions about the school system. So we have school quantity. We'll take anything 7 out of 10. Okay. We also have things like proximity to sewers. He doesn't want to put in a lot of sewers. That's expensive. We can set a proximity to that. We can set crime rates. We can get into flood risks. Again, we have thousands of parameters that we can go into here in order to narrow it down. Ultimately, the decision is going to be made by the company, the land acquisition team recommending something. This is a tool that helps them along, that cuts out their time and hopefully allows them to find better opportunities. So on the left here, we see residential communities. Counties are Travis, score is 80 to 100. We got a school quality of minimum 7, 10,000 feet to the nearest freeway entrance, because they're going to have to, there's a lot of commuting that goes on in Travis County into the downtown Austin, and 10 acres. And it's come up with 539 properties, and good. So far, so good. On the right-hand side, it's drilled down, and here's one of the properties that is in Leander. I may be mispronouncing that, Texas, and we can see the shape of the property. Hey, that looks like it could be developed. It's right on it. It's got a lot of road frontage and so forth. And then we could click on the Google Maps in order to drill down on it. So that is tactic number 1. Tactic number 2, okay, you've built a house. What are you going to list it at? Now, different builders have different strategies here, but it's helpful if they're if analysis of masses of data propose to them a starting point for their decisions. So as we've talked about, you price something too low, yeah, it gets scooped up in 2 days and you've left $10,000, maybe $20,000 on the table. Price it too high and you've got not only the cost of capital, but maintenance and security on the property and things like that. So we take thousands of variables, put them through the artificial intelligence, and it yields a prediction as to what a house will list at. We see here, this, by the way, and this is important, is what I call a foundational model. This is taking all of the external data that we have available to us and running it through. It's important. It is vital that you understand the data from the builder themselves can and should be added in here to make it better, okay? There is data about what should this house list for? Well, it probably should list for something different if it has exotic hardwood floors or something, right? That data might appear in the builder's database. It's certainly not in mine as far as the new built house having rosewood floors or something. So we would take the builder's data, add it to this, and make this more powerful. But even at the base level of accuracy, we see that 34% of the time, the core model here is within 0 to 5% of what the house actually lists for. So we've done sort of automated comps to the nth degree. We've brought in exotic data like how far is it from this house to the nearest toxic waste dump? How about to the nearest lake, to the nearest golf course, and so forth. We have masses of data and it all goes in. So this is tactic number 2, listing price prediction. Tactic number 3, how long is this thing going to sit on the market? We try to predict this, and I kind of think of this as the builder having a number of levers. And they've got the listing price lever, and they've got the, okay, what will we end up signing the deal for? And in between it, you've got, okay, if I move this lever forward and ask for more for a listing price, what does that do to the time on market? Well, oh, I've priced it so that nobody takes us seriously, and the time on market, in fact, goes up and things like that. So anyway, it's another application of AI to take all the data on all the transactions, give more weight to the ones that are local, give more weights to the ones that are very local, and predict the time on market for these things. Tactic number 4, final sales price. In the end, somebody has to sign off on a deal. Many real estate deals involve some negotiations of I make bid and you make a counter bid and so forth. Here we predict what the final sale price will be, and 49% of the time the model is 0 to 5% off the exact thing. Once again, like important factor, this is a foundation model. If you put in the builder data about the quality of the workmanship and the quality of the materials and the other factors, and it gets better. So wouldn't it be great if you knew going into a negotiation what the cards are? What, I can sell this house for $455,000 soon, and somebody's offering me $440,000. I don't have to. I can walk away from it knowing, because all this analysis tells me so. I know that most of the time I'm going to be really tight based upon my prediction. Now, number 5. Number 5 is a little different. Number 5 is a piece of software we've developed that clips on to your website. Does that in less than 5 minutes. It doesn't impact the performance of the website. It doesn't have any problems with privacy. It doesn't violate anyone's privacy. But what it does is it sucks all of the behavior off the website, sends it off where it is enhanced with external data. It is analyzed in real time, and it makes predictions about what this person on the website is going to do next. One of the things they can do next is leave and never be seen again. That's bad. It can also predict, hey, this person has already viewed this particular house 6 times. I think they're really interested. And we predict that they're going to come back tomorrow, probably so that they can show their spouse the house and so forth. So this is a tool that sits on your website and allows the website to be not only generate data, which goes into the other models, but also to interact. So based on visitor behavior, hey, Doug has visited this house for 4 times across the last 8 hours. Stay looking at that house, the Green Cape, this number of times, a maximum of this amount of time. We've created thousands of pieces of data about what somebody's done on the website. And the prediction is this person going to come back again tomorrow? We've trained the AI based upon all the behavior, and now we can trigger things. We can trigger a coupon. We can trigger something that says, oh, this house is under agreement, but would you like to see one that is just like it? We think you'll love that. We can make a website interactive here. So those are the 5 applications we have so far. I'd love to hear any needs that you see in the market. We've got a Q&A session now. Please submit any you have. And I hope you've found this interesting. Again, artificial intelligence is not intimidating. It is a series of weights and an algorithm that changes the weights based upon experience. And the experience might be who's going to buy a Porsche, or who's going to come back to the website, or whether a price of $455,000 is in fact going to close in the next 30 days. So if any of you have a question, please use the chat box on the website here, and I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, we've got our first question here. How long does it take to implement this suite of products?
Okay, some of them can be implemented. Let's see, it says answer live. I presume you can still hear me, so let me just voice it instead of my typing skills are slow. We talked about 5 different things there. Some of them can be implemented almost immediately. I'm talking about days. Bringing client data in to supplement these models, that depends on how well documented it is and things like that. But that can certainly start within a week or 2. I want to contrast this, and I'm delighted to say this. Lennar has worked on this for months and months. And if I had to guess, I'd say they've invested the better part of $1 million, maybe more than $1 million. It's a big organization who are used to writing big checks. We can do it at a fraction of the cost, because I've been doing this for 30 years and I don't have to rediscover things. We can do it at a fraction of the cost. The software exists. We have our base models. We bring in the client data. We use the software as a service model here, and depending on the product, there's different pricing. I think you will find it's reasonable. I don't want to try to toss out a quote for anybody right now. I don't know how large your organization is. I don't know the status of your internal data, which I would like to add, if you allow it, to the models. The models are ready to go right now, and we could have them plugged in a very short period of time. But it would, it's better if we add your data. We could, of course, make it a two-step process where we implement the base models, get those humming, and then bring your data in when you're ready for that. The first step is calling me, because I would be delighted to talk to somebody in person. My number is, and you can get this off the website as well, my personal phone number. And this is a small group, so I'm not I won't be inundated by calls, but I'd be delighted to talk to somebody. I can be reached at 828-206-4062. So I hope to talk to one or more of you in the near future. It's been a pleasure presenting to you. As you can tell, I'm incredibly excited. I'm excited about artificial intelligence. In my mind, I'm sort of like a performer who becomes a star after 30 years, trying to get a job. I spent 10 years trying to explain to people what artificial intelligence was, and got a lot of glazed over looks and hostile responses from statisticians and so forth. And now it's my dream. It's the hot thing. And someone asked, can I get a copy of the presentation? Absolutely. Also, we're going to post this to our website, which is www.swarmalytics.com. By the way, Swarmalytics is our new form of AI, where we unleash intelligent agents from all sorts of directions. Think of a swarm of bees or a swarm of piranha trying to consume something. In any case, be delighted to talk to you, and we will we'll send a note to everybody who's attended to let them know how to get their copy of the presentation. Thank you all very much. Again, it's been a pleasure, and I hope to meet you all in person. Bye.